Lou became lauded as a pioneer in her field and awarded a research appointment at CERN in Switzerland. She hadn't hesitated for a second in bringing Grace along for the ride. It had been a dream come true. Everything had fallen into place for Grace since coming to Geneva with Lou. Well, until Anton. He just didn't fit in with her carefully ordered world. He was her friend, but not. Her eyes dropped to the A, and she sighed, swinging back and forth in her roller chair. She shouldn't even be up right now. Replying wasn't the smartest idea, not when she knew Anton would write back, and she only had 3 hours before she needed to be up. But if she did reply, it wouldn't be the first time she'd lost sleep over chatting with Anton. Certainly it wouldn't be the last, either. The pair had begun corresponding because of work, and at first, the emails had been 3 or 4 lines at most, counting a thank you and goodbye. But somewhere in all those early emails on specifications for lens delivery and schematic requests, Grace and Anton had fallen into a friendly back and forth. She didn't know when it happened, but maybe it had been inevitable from the start. He was funny, there was no denying it, and he thought she was clever, which only stoked her excitement at seeing a new email appear from A, as he signed them. Anton Kovalev. Grace didn't even need to Google him to know who he was. His notoriety preceded him. From the beginning, she had known who she was talking to on account of the fact that he was famous. Like the big-time kind of famous that demanded nondescript hoodies and dark baseball caps pulled down low over aviator sunglasses to keep people from recognizing him. It was what happened when you were a born billionaire and frittered away your youth as a hell-raising playboy. Not that any of that mattered in the grand scheme of things, or so Grace told herself. There was no way the man she knew now was the same one who had once upon a time favored supermodels, benders that lasted weeks, or trashing sports cars. Her Anton, the one she knew, was one of the leading lights of the science world. He didn't even go home from the lab some nights, opting to sleep on the pull-out couch he kept just for that purpose. She knew as much because of the phone calls. She rubbed her neck, thinking back 3 weeks ago to that first 2 a.m. call that had woken her up like a jolt of lightning. He'd called 4 times in the days that followed it, and each time it made her nervous and giddy because those damned sporadic phone calls did far more for her than any date with a man had in months. Hell, maybe even years. That couldn't be normal. She winced, recalling how good his voice sounded when roughened by sleepiness, how interested he was in her day and her thoughts, even as he chastised her that she should be sleeping. "If that isn't the pot calling the kettle black," she retorted with a yawn. "I'd have a snappy comeback, but I like you talking to me. Shut up and tell me about your day." And then he would. And it was pretty much the best part of Grace's day, which was saying something. She got to work beside her best friend, she got to live in a gorgeous city, she was independent, and she was surrounded by a fantastic, if harried, group of scientists she thought of as hers. And in some way, Anton was a part of that. Hers, even if it was only through exchanged emails and the odd phone call. It was nice. It was theirs, and it was, well, she didn't know what it was, but she'd take it. Except now, there was an invitation to dinner, and Grace didn't know how to process that. Did he mean it as friends? Surely he did, but what if he didn't? She swallowed hard, rubbing her eyes and blinking at the too bright screen in the dark of her bedroom. This was not what she should be doing at this hour. She should be asleep, unconcerned about said dinner invitation until she could run it by Lou. Her best friend would know what Anton meant. After all, they'd been friends for longer than Grace and Anton, so that had to count for something, didn't it? It wasn't professional. You didn't internet stalk and drool over someone who was supposed to be your work friend.